NBA draft insider, ESPN legend,
recruiting director, college basketball, NBA draft analyst, man, the one and only Paul Biancardi, man. Bring him in. Paul, how you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. I'm fired up now.
Yeah, I love your energy, man. It's draft day. It's your time of the year. Let's get straight to it, man. Tell us, like, what's your process today? Like, what are you? I'm sure you're busy all damn day. Like, walk us through when it's draft day. What are you doing?
Well, for me, it's a lot of radio, a lot of podcasts, a lot of text messages. I keep that line open for NBA scouts that have last-minute questions on intel or maybe some basketball questions. Usually the basketball part of it, guys, that's been set for a long time. But sometimes you get a last-minute text, you know, why did you rank this guy in the top 20 out of high school? We have a chance to move on him in a trade. You know, everything's confidential, of course, on my end, but I just try to provide as much value as I can to NBA scouts, and then all the platforms I get to go on. This is the first one today, so I always will remember my first.
We feel special.
Appreciate that, brother. Let me ask you right out the gate. Boston Celtics, are they just blowing this thing up?
No. Brad Stevens not going to blow it up.
Is Jaylen Brown on the block?
Not in my mind. Now, you know, look, there's so much speculation leading up to the draft. You know, you read a lot of times guys are sliding. I don't know if guys really slide because the boards have been done by teams, right? Teams know who they're going to draft usually right after the combine. They've been scouting this since McDonald's All-American game and the Jordan Brand Classic game and all the All-Star games. But in terms of the Celtics, I think, you know, they're just trying to make some room for the, you know, the second apron, the luxury tax. You know, it's a rich city. It's a city I'm from. So I got great history with the Celtics. I grew up on the Boston Celtics. I love what Brad Stevens has done. I think he's just trying to figure a way how to save some money right now.
No
Quick
doubt.
question, because you brought this up, and I was talking to JB in our little group chat the other day. Can you explain what this like second apron, what this actually mean? Like, and dumb it down, make it like sports talk for dummies. What does this mean?
Well, I'm a dummy, so I don't know if I can explain it, but there's a luxury tax. That's the first round of money that the NBA gets taxed on. Then there's what they call a second apron. It's just another level of tax that you basically can't go past. Gotcha. You know, if you go past that one, I think that's when you get really hit with the fines and bad things happen to your franchise. I don't know the ins and outs, but I do know that's the last round of, you know, money that you can spend. You can't go past that.
So teams are trying to stay away from that. I got you.
You basically try to stay away from the tax collector. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Me and JB, we do that every year. We do a good job of that. Well, let's dive back into this draft. And I know you said like a lot of these teams, like it sounds like they've kind of already known who they were going with, you know, for a while now. So like, are you pretty confident, you know, like what the top three people in this draft, you know, will be?
Well, I have a good feeling of what I would do if it was the top three picks. Obviously,
what would you do?
Yeah, Cooper Flagg's on an island by himself, guys. I've watched him longer than anyone because I got a phone call on him after his freshman year of high school when nobody knew who Cooper Flagg was. Check this out. His AAU coach, Andy Bedard, played for us at Boston College when I was an assistant coach. I get a phone call. Hey, coach, I got this kid, Cooper Flagg. I think he's pretty special. Can you watch a film of him? Sure, Andy. Watched the film, thought he was very good on film. But on film, you can't tell athleticism. So I went out to see him live, and you could see the athletic ability at that time. You could see the skill level. You could see the competitive nature. I mean, he just did so many things well at a young age. And then obviously his career took off. He's a superstar in terms of his approach and mindset. I don't know if he'll be the number one option on a playoff team or a championship team. I don't think he's wired that way because he loves to defer, right? He loves to give it up to his teammates and be the playmaker. But he can be the best number two option in the NBA. And he's a culture driver. Wherever he goes, for example, Dallas, they're ready to win. And he's going to help them win. And he doesn't have to be the man. And right now, Cooper Flagg doesn't like being the man. He's going to work his way into that role as time goes on. He's a great role model for the future generation of players because he's competitive and he's coachable. And at the same time, he only has one thing on his mind, and that's winning. He's really a special cat when it comes to that. Number two would be Dylan Harper. And in my mind, Ace Bailey's the number 3 pick in terms of talent and upside. but obviously he doesn't want to be in Philadelphia, and his people know where he wants to go. So I think Philly's going to, take a hard look at that and go with VJ Edgecombe, because with Edgecombe, you get everything that you want in a prospect. You've got incredible upside down the road. You get somebody who can help you a little bit in a pinch right now. They got McCain and Maxey, and he is so good when it comes to the locker room and the community, VJ Edgecombe. Like, this kid came over from the Bahamas at 14 years old just so he could get a scholarship so his parents wouldn't have to pay for college. And now he's going to be the number 3 pick in the draft, possibly. I mean, this guy is a wonderful story, exceptionally humble, hardworking, and he is the best athlete when it comes to speed and lateral quickness, in my opinion, in the draft.
Damn.
Got you.
Let me go back to Dallas real quick, because I want to piggyback on those 3 things you just said. The Dallas Mavericks, real quick, they signed Kyrie to this 3-year deal. Can you explain what they did? I guess he turned down a particular set of agreements to do a 3-year, $119 million contract after the ACL recovery. Hopefully all that comes back and he's good to go. But 3-year deal, $119 million. Is that something setting the team up for future moves, or how is that a management of money scenario? What is that with Dallas?
Well, I'm going to guess it's a management of money, but also to set up Dallas for future success. You have him for 3 with the number 1 pick. You got Lively. Hopefully you can get a couple more years out of Anthony Davis. You got Gafford. I mean, you got Klay Thompson. I think Dallas is trying to set themselves up for stability, which they need, right? We don't have to get into that. Stability is important right now. Cooper Flagg will bring stability. Look, he's not going to make people forget about Luka, but he's going to be somebody that people are going to warm up to quickly, because when you leave the building, you're going to know if Cooper Flagg played 5 minutes or he played 20 minutes, and he's giving it his all. And for a rookie, he's going to be 19 years old playing in the NBA. He's going to be damn good.
It's going to be a lot of pressure, though, too, right? And those are some large shoes. Cool.
No, because Kyrie, there'll be pressure initially because he's going to have to play some point guard. Like with Kyrie out, they need a playmaker. Now, he's not a point guard, but he can play make. He can initiate offense. He's really smart. And as I said earlier, he loves to defer. So he's going to look for his teammates. He'll probably play the point guard position for a while. But then when Kyrie comes back, you got Anthony Davis, you got Klay Thompson, other players, that will take the pressure off Coop. Coop doesn't put pressure on himself. Like whether Coop's playing a pickup game or he's playing the NBA, he's going to have the same approach. That's what makes him different.
Let me go back to Boston real quick. You mentioned a couple guys that you think will go 2 and 3 possibly. Is there any player after Cooper that the Celtics will look at and say there's a possibility of getting rid of a Jaylen Brown for one of those guys?
Ooh.
Anybody? I saw Seth Green today, who I've known a long time since I used to hoop at Artesia with Wayne Marino. Seth would come recruit Ed O'Bannon and Charles O'Bannon, who I played with. And I used to talk to Seth all the time. We stayed in touch, but he said it this morning. I listened. He was like, he kind of agrees with you, but he was like, there's one guy that he possibly would look at for getting rid of Jaylen Brown if they're going to go and try to move him. Is there anybody in this draft that you think is worthy?
Not after Cooper. No, maybe 2 guys, but not 1.
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown's worth 2. Trust me.
Yeah. No doubt. And that money, right? He's got a big deal. Going to Philly now. The last thing I had, because you talked about those teams particularly. You see them in any scenario moving Embiid?
Possibly, but like, who are you going to get? What you're going to get for him?
Because you mentioned locker room, and I think there's something going on there, right?
Look, it's like a family, right? There's something going on in every family.
No doubt.
So when you go home later, you guys go home later, there's always a little rift.
No doubt.
But I think that getting back to who they draft with VJ Edgecombe now, he brings culture, he brings a togetherness, he brings a humbleness. That rubs off. Even though he's a rookie, he's not afraid to speak his mind if Philadelphia drafts him. I mean, I've seen this kid speak up at Baylor's practices. Scott Drew, I talked to the head coach at Baylor. He said, look, VJ's not afraid to speak his mind to the upperclassmen. So he'll do that in a respectful way. I don't think they're going to move Embiid. I think they have a good thing going right now. They just got to tighten it up a little bit.
No doubt. You brought up Ace Bailey already, obviously canceling his workout. I guess, is that kind of rubbing teams the wrong way with them? We know how talented he is from a skill set standpoint, of course. That's not even a question. But, canceling workouts, like, I mean, obviously he doesn't want to play for the Sixers. We get it. But Is there any way he might slip in the draft because he's doing that, or no? Like, there's no chance.
Well, talent-wise, he's third pick in the draft. Pure talent, pure upside. You're going to take him at 3. At the worst, it's 4. Okay. I don't know if he's slipping. I just figure teams are saying, look, he doesn't want to play for us, Philadelphia. He doesn't want to play in Charlotte, and I don't think that's a good fit in Charlotte. So you keep going down the line, but eventually he's going to have to stop somewhere because you have to take the talent off the board. His people, I think, want to see him in a scenario where he can take all the shots. Okay, and that's Washington, because they are in a total rebuild, right? Reconstruction. They're trying to do it all over again. They're trying to come up. And so that's a situation I think they think is good for him. Now, does that rub people the wrong way? Of course it does. If somebody said to you, hey, you know what? My guy doesn't really want to be there. The franchise still has to make a decision. Do we draft him?
Right.
Try to work with him and develop him and kind of forget what the agent is saying? Or do we draft him and then use him as a trade asset? That could be a possibility. Philly may draft him and then trade him.
Man, it's interesting, man. I could imagine, and again, I was never in these shoes of these top talented guys, but like you're getting your dreams about to come true. You're about to get drafted to the NBA, and now you're dictating, you know what I'm saying? Now I ain't playing there, I'm not playing there, I'm not playing there. It's like he's basically choosing the team he wants to go to. And he hasn't played.
And
like
listen to this. You talk about money. That third pick in the draft, they started $11 million per. The 6th pick starts at about $8 million per. So you're losing money on the front end because you think you're going to get a second contract down the road, more of a max deal because you're going to get more playing time, more shots. I think you're trying to anytime you try to manipulate the process, whether it's the recruiting process, which I'm in every day, or the NBA draft, I think you better be careful.
Nah, well, 100%.
Paul, let me ask you something, Paul. We're in LA. Obviously, grew up Lakers fan. We got Michael Cooper on our show every week, and we had the Chief on yesterday.
Lakers.
I know. We had Robert Parrish on yesterday.
Yeah, Robert Parrish was on. Yeah.
Oh, I love the Chief now. I love the Chief.
He went at the Lakers. He said, "Fuck the Lakers." I loved it. But anyway, it was great. Let me ask you. I don't think they have a pick until 55, second round. What are they doing right now? An aging LeBron. They have hopefully in shape Luka returns as the face, and they kind of pass the buck right from LeBron to him. What are they doing, though, rim protection? Why? What are they looking for in this draft? And are they going to make moves, do you think, this offseason? They got to, right?
Well, I think they need size, right? They were in a trade with Charlotte during the season. Don't forget, they were going to send Dalton Connect to Charlotte and get Mark Williams, which I thought was a win-win. Charlotte really needs better shooting, and we know that the Lakers need rim protection, size, and side. So that's one thing they're going to try to get. Now, at 55, you're not going to get rim protection. You're going to have to make a move in free agency to get maybe an established center type. Somebody who can just take the load off inside. But the roster, I mean, look, LeBron still looks great. I've watched him since he was in high school, and I was at Ohio State as an assistant coach. I mean, that guy is just a super freak, right, as they like to say, and he's still got massive game. And then you mentioned it, an in-shape Luka, that's going to be a difference maker. I know you can't feel it right now. It's the offseason. You got Austin Reeves. You got some really good pieces there. You do need somebody to play interior defense, try to protect the rim with shot blocking ability, and just take the load off of Luka and LeBron. But those guys are going to have to rebound. No matter how you slice it. I mean, they're 6'8", and I don't know what Luka is, 6'8"?
Something maybe? Like that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're 6'8", they're strong. LeBron's the athletic freak. Luka's just thick and strong. But those two guys, as forwards, are going to have to rebound.
100%. 100%. My next question here is, outside of Cooper Flagg, is there any other player in this draft that you feel like is going to be like a game changer? Like, I know there's a lot of just good players and like solid role guys, but we're talking about like a franchise. Is there like a sleeper in this draft? We're like, man, hey, I can see this guy in the next 3 to 5 years being like, I don't know, the next SGA or, you know, something where he's like, this guy can be a star.
Well, a star is hard to find, I think, in the draft. Like, nobody knew SGA, right? What did he get drafted? 20?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, the sleeper in this draft, though, Ced Coward, right out west, Washington State. Okay, Division III, goes out of high school. Then he goes to Eastern Washington for a couple of years, becomes all conference. Then he goes to Washington State, plays 6 games, gets hurt. This guy is 6'6", with enormous energy, a good-looking three-point shot, a 7'2" wingspan. He's going to be a first-round pick, could be a lottery pick, and nobody's really talking about him. That's a guy and he's 20-something years old, like he's 22, 23. He's older, he's mature. He interviewed well at the combine, shoots it really well, and plays, like I said, with great effort. I mean, this guy to me is a guy who's going to be a sleeper in the draft, domestically for sure. Nobody's talking about him right now, and I think he's a guy who's going to have a chance to play major minutes because he's older, he's battle tested, and watch out for Seth Coward, and that's a West Coast guy, so you guys should know him.
Seth Coward.
Let me ask you this: you still dabble in recruiting, you know the landscape, what's going on in college athletics, period. What are you seeing? The biggest takeaway from right now is college football, college basketball, this NIL and transfer portal issues we see. Football-wise, they're getting older, playing at more schools. They get to the NFL. I think the quarterback position's taking the biggest hit. I don't believe they're being developed, even though they're getting older. And that's what we're seeing. I think we're seeing a really, really bad product at the quarterback position, even though they're more athletic. And then you go to basketball, and we're seeing, the one and done and all this stuff that we've seen kind of go back and forth. Are we doing one and dones? Are we not? Right out of high school, all the things have changed. Where you at right now with NIL, the transfer portal, and what are you seeing the transition from that going into what we were discussing right now, the draft? Are we seeing a worse first round, I guess, picks that we have in the recent past, history of the KGs and all these great guys that came right out of high school, or you think we're fine, status quo?
Well, this particular class is great, fellas. I mean, it's Cooper Flagg, yes, but Dylan Harper is going to be a star, could be an all-star. VJ Edgecombe, I told you. Trey Johnson, Con Knipp will be the best shooter maybe in the draft. This class is great. Next year's class is great as well. That's a loaded question. A lot of things going on there. The portal is what it is, okay? That's not changing. So guys are going to be able to play, transfer if they wish. There's unlimited transfers still right now. What nobody's talking about with the portal is every time a guy transfers, he loses college credits. And so I don't know if we're keeping track of guys graduating. Because if you remember in college, every time you go to a new school, you lose 3 credits, 6 credits, 9 credits. And
progress towards degree, all that.
Yeah, progress towards degree. So that's not being talked about. I don't think that's being addressed enough. Now with the NIL, it's starting to settle down in terms of structure, right? They have a company now called Deloitte. They're going to basically view every transaction over $600 to make sure it's a real NIL situation. What they're trying to do is say, hey, does this money add up to this work? Is it in the right range? Not fair market value, but is it in the right range? So they're almost an enforcement of the NIL. They took that out of the hands of the NCAA and they put it into this private company. I think that's going to help open up the books, right? You can see what people are getting paid, and then you're going to see, if it's worth the range of what it is. And if not, they're going to investigate it. So you can't just keep throwing money at people for no-show situations. I think that's going to help because we were just paying kids to go to college before. And then on top of that, there is the money from the revenue, the TV revenue. So the schools are paying the players, and then there's going to be true NIL that's going to be structured through this company called Deloitte. I think it's starting to settle down. The money's big for the real players. But I tell every kid coming out of high school who thinks they're going to make a lot of money, your game is your brand. You don't have a brand yet. Nobody wants you. Nobody cares about you. Develop your game, and then you can have a brand when there's an opportunity, for financial success.
I love that.
Yeah. No doubt.
Love it, man. Well, all right, we appreciate you so much, man. This has been dope. You hopping on here. Tell the people what you got going on now. I mean, where can people follow you at? You got anything new you're doing or cooking up? Let our fans know so they can connect with you and follow you.
I'll be on X all day today at Paul Biancardi for the NBA draft. I'm on Instagram as well. And anything and all things with high school basketball, college basketball, NBA, hit me up. Ask me a question. Be respectful, and I'll get back to you.
No doubt. Paul, I can't thank you enough, brother. You're a legend. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Paul.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me. Let's do it again.
Hell yeah, always. Thank you.